on Larry King Now, chef and author Evan Funke.
That's the beautiful thing for me about pastas. It's not necessarily the technical aspect or the shape, it's the anthropology that's connected behind it. And that's what drives me is the people and the origin story of each and every shape.
Plus,
I really, really hope that every copy that people buy is going to be splattered with sauce and covered with flour. And I really hope that they use this as a manual, at least to understand the beginnings of how to make pasta.
all that next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. I'm Dennis Miller, filling in for Larry. My guest today is chef, also an author, Evan Funke. Evan specializes in Italian tradition. He's a master of the old world techniques of homemade pasta. He's worked in Wolfgang Puck's renowned restaurant, Sfoglino. Recently opened his own restaurant, Felix Trattoria, in Venice, California. And it's so good, it makes you think you're in Venice, Italy. He'll star in the upcoming food series, The Shape of Pasta, which will premiere on Quibi, he'll explain, next spring. Evan recently released his debut cookbook, American
Sfoglino. It's a mouthful, I know. Sfoglino.
Which is available in stores and online. Chef Funke, my son ate at your restaurant, Felix, and he told me amatriciana, the rigatoni amatriciana was... I don't even like saying to die for. I like saying to live for. He told me it was joyous. How is it your key dish, brother?
It's one of the quintessential Roman dishes. So I love Roman food. I love to cook Roman food. Obviously, there's no Roman food in this. This is based on my beginnings as a pasta maker in Bologna. And this book kind of encompasses the confluence of two of very, very strong mentors in my life, and my pasta is a confluence of their mentorship.
Who are the mentors?
Well, one is Alessandra Spisni. She's an absolute powerhouse. When I was studying with her in 2007, she was...
That's in Bologna, right?
In Bologna. When I was studying with her, she wasn't the powerhouse she is today. She's on TV, television, books, and whatever. And the other person is a gentleman by the name of Kozaku Kawamura.
Oh, say it louder.
Kozaku Kawamura. So he's a Japanese pasta maker who I met in Bologna. He'd been studying this style of pasta for 4 years when I met him. So it's kind of like the maniacal, craft-driven perfection of the Japanese mind and the heart and soul and tradition of
what a perfect marriage, right? So. Beautiful. Now, when you go over, I think the big shape over in Bologna, because I read up a little, and I do like food, but I said, I wonder what's over in Bologna, what's the knowledge about? I guess the shape there is called angliati? Is that the...
So, the quintessential shape from Bologna is actually the tortellini. And there's many iterations that come from the tortellini. The tortellini has a very interesting story. You leave it up to the Italians to fill politics and sex into everything. So the story of the tortellini is actually based off of Venus, the goddess of love. She comes to Earth and stays at an inn. The innkeeper is so taken aback by her beauty as he peeps into the keyhole, sees her navel, and is so inspired to go and make pasta. True story. So it is.
That's a great horny inspiration.
If you turn it upside down, it looks like a navel, right? So the quintessential shape, like I said, from Bologna is the tortellini, and then from there is tortelloni, tortellacci, balanzone, which is this one, balanzone. So 4 of the same shape, just in varying sizes. So agnolotti's from Piemonte.
What precedes this when you're back here in California? What leads you to the point where you think, well, I know your old man's a genius, right? Is your dad the DP on the Tolkien films?
Yeah, 3-time Oscar winner.
Brother, I mean, that's good for you for finding turf where you can carve your own head out.
He set a very high standard for my entire family.
But he's sweet about it, right? Because
he's the most gentle and caring and beautiful man I know. So, but he's a master at his craft.
Yes.
So he set the bar very, very high for all of us in the Funke family. So I had a lot to learn from. But I made a lot of mistakes. I took a lot of different roads. I was a professional massage therapist for 2 years. I worked at gyms. I joined the Marine Corps, and I was actually joined the Marine Corps 2 weeks before I was to go to boot camp. The mother of the woman I was dating at the time was like, what are you doing? Why don't you just go to culinary school? And I was like, oh my God, it all fits. So I took out a student loan, went to Carnegie School, and 3 months in, I got a job with Wolf at his catering facility. We were doing the Oscars and the Grammys and all that jazz. And,
What closed the thing with Wolf? Because he can have his pick of the entire litter, man, in the culinary field.
This is true.
What do you think closed it for you?
I think it was actually me getting a little bit cocky.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I worked there for roughly 18 months, and then, my head got so big I couldn't get through the door. He's like, all right, hot shit. You're going to Spago. So I spent the next 4 years at Spago.
The one up on the hill near Tower Records, the one down in the flats?
Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills. So I was with Wolf from 2000 to 06. And then I left Spago for some medical reasons because it was a very all-consuming experience.
Yeah, I'll say.
And
immersive.
Very much so. And then I took a really terrible job at a hotel that made me not want to be a chef anymore. But the chef there was from Bologna, and he wouldn't teach me anything, so it really pissed me off. So I said, you know what? Screw you. I'm moving to Bologna. Go to the horse's mouth.
Yeah,
so
I'll go right to
found
the
myself
under
under the guidance of Alessandra Spisni, and she was the one to really open the door for me to start seeking out other pasta makers throughout the peninsula of Italy that still practice handmade pasta today.
Man, I love this stuff.
I know, man.
Because when you see craftspeople dealing with it and how adamant they are about the ingredients and the prep, and it's the only way to learn. It gave me goosebumps.
That's the beautiful thing for me about pastas. It's not necessarily the technical aspect or the shape. It's the anthropology that's connected behind it, and that's what's really what drives me is the people and the origin story of each and every shape. And that's part of what the Quibi series is about, is seeking out these pasta makers that have no one to pass on this knowledge, which that's how the knowledge has been passed on for thousands of years, is by generation to generation. And fewer of the younger people are interested in doing this very laborious thing. So I'm kind of offering myself as a godson to say, hey, let me be the mouthpiece. Let me continue this tradition. And hopefully I piss the Italians off enough so they say, hey, why aren't we doing this? And that's what this show is about. We've sought out 7 women pasta makers that are practicing rare, obscure, and close to extinction shapes. And I've kind of become the custodian of these shapes to continue the passage of knowledge, really.
And we'll talk about that after the break, because I love that part. As I read your research, I said, oh, that makes such... Well, we'll talk about it after. Why am I going to espouse? My man's here. When we come back, we learn about Evan's roots, which we learned a little. We also know why he wants to be a chef now. What does he consider his big break back here after he studies over in Bologna? And stay with us. Evan Funke on The Larry Kingy Show. Welcome back to Larry King Now. I'm Dennis Miller, filling in for Larry today. We've got the man right now. He's in the, let's say he's in the LAX control tower for pasta chef Evan Funke, bringing him in, sending him out. And I love, before we went to break, and I found this fascinating, you gathered 7 women from the entire length of Italy, and they were the pasta makers. Explain the anthropology behind that.
So pasta making, historically, is very matriarchal. They were the center of the household. And what's important to understand about pasta is that not only are all of the modern shapes that you can find in the grocery store, all of those have an ancestral shape. And all of those ancestral shapes were at one time made in the home by a woman from semolina and water. And the ingenuity of these thousands of shapes, probably thousands have already been forgotten, but all the ingenuity and the natural engineering of all these shapes were basically engineered by people who had to keep things interesting. Because guess what? We're eating the same today, semolina and water. Now, wouldn't you come up with new, interesting ways to disguise the same food every day? So all of these shapes were born from that. So historically, pasta has been made by women. So when I showed up to Bologna in 07, they looked at me like I had 10 heads, like, why do you want to make pasta? But very quickly they understood that I was very driven by the history and the tradition, and they received me with open arms. So out of the 150 so shapes that I can make with my hands, with no machines, only one of those shapes has been taught to me by a man. It's all been women. And I'm going to continue on that because they are the storytellers. They are the culinary storytellers. In Italy, there's many, many Italian chefs, great Italian chefs, but if you ask any Italian who is the best chef, they're going to say, my mom. my grandmother.
You're right, man. When it gets to the point where there's nobody to tell the tale anymore, that's a frightening moment in history.
It
All
is.
this
It's a
stuff,
great responsibility. It's a great
Yes.
responsibility for me to pass it on to other pasta makers, and that's what this book is about. This is just the beginning.
Look at this beautiful book, folks. No, I know what you're saying. What is this? Is this like...
This is the balanzone. So the pasta that's made in this book is 100% by hand.
upside down,
Yeah,
the navel?
The navel of Venus. 100% made by hand. So this is a wood table and a stick. And that's it. And we cover 14 of the quintessential shapes just from one city, Bologna. And this is kind of like my love story to these two people in this city and their
beautiful book,
heritage.
right?
It's gorgeous. Eric Wolfinger did an absolutely exceptional
Wolfinger,
job.
is that the
Yeah.
photo guy?
Yeah. And
Folks,
we
it's a
wrote
stunner for Christmas.
it is a stunner for Christmas.
I
mean,
you
come
can't
on,
do the
there it
interview.
is.
You finish. I got to go eat.
So I wrote this with Katie Parla. She's an absolute monster. I think we wrote 35,000 words in roughly 3 days, and she really captured my voice and how I wanted it to come across. But I'm very happy with the book, and I really hope that every copy that people buy is going to be splattered with sauce and covered with flour, and I really
Right.
hope that they use this as a manual, at least to understand the beginnings of how to make pasta. So if one person who sees this starts making pasta, I win.
It is both literally and figuratively mouthwatering.
It's
Digs
the
into that bowl.
world across, and pasta is the identity of this country.
Yeah. Now tell me about Felix. How do you get it off the ground? You can't. LA's like
Sheer will.
yeah. LA's a crowded game board.
It is. It is, in fact. You know, when I first got an email from a woman named Janet Zuccarini, who's my partner at Felix, I was working in Chicago as a consultant, and I got an email, and she said, "Hey, I got this place on Abbot-Kinney. You want to be the chef?" And
Oh, that's that beautiful street down there.
yeah. It's a very difficult street to do business on.
Oh, really?
The rents are extremely high. We're talking like downtown Manhattan rents. So you really got to come to play. And there's been an exceptional amount of turnover on that street because the rents are very high. And there's a lot of competition. So, but I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to do.
Right, you had your backpack.
And so we made a deal, and we opened this restaurant with a glass box in the middle of it, so people can be connected with the pasta making process. And it's an exceptional restaurant. I love the restaurants. It's small, but we are mighty.
It's like the Apple Cube across from the Plaza, baby, where it's all, I love that idea.
Well, you know, people love to see the guts of things.
Yes.
People want to see behind closed doors, and I wanted to create this this showcase piece. It's an expensive showcase piece because it's roughly 150 square feet in the middle of a restaurant that could have tables in it. So I had a long conversation. Absolutely.
I love it's all.
Yeah.
We're all in here, and when you're talking about shapes, you got to build a unique shape in the middle of your restaurant.
Yeah, for sure. And what it really does is create a conversation between the pasta eater and the pasta maker. And if you look down in your bowl of trofie with pesto and you see there's like 200 pieces, and you look through the glass, there's a guy doing this 200 times just for you. That creates a connection.
Yeah.
And you're changed forever once you see that.
Do you get
But some-
jazzed in there, Funky? Do you dig it? I mean, it must be like stepping into the...
I do like 2 shows a night. I'll go in there and roll some Sfoligno, and it's great.
So you must dig that feeling, man.
Well, I'm the perpetual student. I'm not a master of anything, and all I want to be is a custodian of these traditions, and that's it. And just try not to fuck it up.
Yeah, you're a humble man, but you can go flourish
Thank
a
you.
little in that vibe. It must be exhilarating. I can't imagine. Up next, we get to know Evan a little better with a round of If You Only Knew. Make sure to pick up his new book, American
Sfoglino.
Sfoglino. It's like Carla Guglielmo, the actress. Available now. We'll be right back. American Sfoglino. Welcome back to Larry King Now. I'm Dennis Miller, in for Larry today. My guest is Chef Evan Funke, and his joint is called Just Felix, or is it Restaurante?
Felix Trattoria.
All right. We play a game here at Larry King Now called If You Only Knew. Guilty pleasure.
Pasta.
Yeah.
I'm a glutton, as you can
But
see.
at the end of the day, what do you kick back with? Is there do you like a Whataburger or chefs always have something that they're a little. I think I've even seen Woofy talk about a couple things he's got that he digs.
Honestly, I'm a glutton for everything. I mean, I love burgers and all the fast food and like You can't not.
Give me a killer burger in L.A., man. I'm going to trust your.
I used to make a pretty good burger in Los Angeles, but I think 5 years ago I would have said In-N-Out, but I'm going to say Shake Shack.
Food you can't stomach.
Blue cheese. Not into it. I had a run-in with some very, very aged Cabrales one time, and it just burned out my whole nostrils, and I've never recovered from it.
Aged Cabrales is not an old enemy. No. It's a fragrant cheese that just
fragrant is very kind.
Ruins your olfactory sense. Yeah, it's
never recovered.
A food that's getting a lot of buzz right now.
Pasta.
Yeah,
it's having a moment, and I'm so glad that I'm in the center of the moment. But I think that you know, with all of the crazes and fads of carb this and keto and all that garbage, people go back to what satisfies, and pasta is one of those quintessential foods that they satisfy people. It's very comforting, always, and it's instantly familiar.
A food most people don't like, but should give another try.
I think beef tongue.
Beef tongue.
I think beef tongue. It's so good. I don't think people eat it enough.
Most overrated dish?
Filet mignon.
What don't you think about it?
It's the least flavorful. You know, it's a muscle. It does nothing. The more muscle works, the more flavor
You're right.
it has.
Too lean. What's your favorite cut of steak?
Ribeye cap. The cap. The cap. You got to come, Felix, have the ribeye cap.
You're not putting it over pasta, are you?
No. This is off of the grill.
Yeah, it's unto its own.
Yeah.
Give me an exciting food city in America right now. Somewhere I want to know.
I like Austin.
Yeah.
Austin's great. Austin's weird. Keep it weird, but like Austin's great.
Not just all barbecue, right? There's other things happening
there's
there?
Other things. Try out Austin.
Something you wish you were better at?
Roller skating.
Yeah. That's funny, though. My last guests were roller skaters,
Not
too.
that I would roller skate, but like, it's a good skill to have, I guess.
If I ever saw you going around that cube...
You know, I changed my answer. Scared of heights. I am like deathly scared of heights.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. I was in Paris a couple years ago, and the chefs that I was with, you got to go up to the Eiffel Tower. I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't even get out of the elevator.
A dish you can't seem to master?
I don't know. I haven't tried my hand at all of them.
All right. There you go. I like that. Chef you'd trade places with for a day. Who do you dig? Who's your guy?
That's a tough one.
Got to be somebody you look at from afar and just go, wow, that cat is switched on.
There's so many. Today it's unbelievable because everybody's scrapping for the same attention, the same clientele, the same. You know, there's a lot of chefs that I truly respect, and that's no bull. But there's only one person I've ever wanted to be like, and that's my dad because he's a master.
The main course, the old man. Beautiful, brother. Hey, coming up, Evan will answer some of your social media questions in the final segment, and he lit up the boards for us. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Larry King Now. I'm Dennis Miller, filling in for Larry today. My guest is Chef Evan Funke. His joint in L.A. is called Trattoria
Felix.
And the book, American, we work best in tandem.
Sfoglino.
There you go. It's a master class in handmade pasta. And this guy's the state of the art in L.A. right now, trust me. Some social media questions for you, Evan.
Sure.
Gina Smith on the Larry King Now blog asks, what was your favorite part of being in Italy?
I think what I love most about Italy is the diversity. You're talking about thousands of years of deeply rooted culinary tradition, and you can have an exceptional meal in Parma and drive 30 minutes or 30 miles into another region and have something completely different. And that's because these small kingdoms existed, and those culinary traditions are deeply rooted, and they still exist today. The Italians have a word for it. It's called campanilissimo, which means pride of one's origin.
Good name for a restaurant, too.
It's
That's
too hard to say.
One,
we already have an issue with this.
Trevor McLaughlin on the Larry King Now blog asks, is there a type of food that you really don't like? I know you said earlier blue cheese, but as national cuisines go, what would be further down on your list than Italian?
National cuisines. I don't think there is one.
No.
I mean, obviously I haven't explored everything yet, but like there are some redundancies I think in the world. Like,
Are you a sushi guy? Do you dig sushi at all?
I love sushi, but actually as a discipline I don't eat sushi just because I feel bad for the ocean. So I'm giving the species a break. So I don't eat sushi. I haven't for about 5 years. I love Vietnamese food. I love Thai food.
I know it's not fresh and all that, but occasionally you gotta break open some mac and cheese. When you were kids, you do mac and cheese.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My mom cooked for 7 of us.
Kraft?
She's a monster. For sure. Absolutely.
Occasionally I would not use the water in the Kraft and throw in a little heavy cream, and all of a sudden it was like Chateaubriand.
Yeah, man.
It was high end, brother. Yvette Renshaw on Larry King Now blog asks, as a chef with a beard, does it ever get in the way when you're cooking?
Cooking on the line is a young man's game, a young woman's game. So like, I'm off. I make pasta, so I kind of like traded that life for another life. So has it gotten in the way? No.
What are you looking for when a kid comes in and he's hungry, figuratively speaking, to become a line chef, man?
Integrity.
Yeah.
Integrity, caliber, character. Because I can't teach that.
Right.
That's like born from your parents. I can teach you skill, but I can't teach you character.
Yeah, you need the base coat. You're a good guy, Evan Funke.
Thank you, man.
Good to meet you, man. I'm happy for you.
Thank you so much.
You're in your moment. He's the man in L.A. right now for pasta. And that is a hard mountain to climb because every second guy out here is making pasta. So to raise up to the top, I go, no, he's making pasta. Good for you, brother.
Thanks.
Make sure to purchase his book, American
Sfoglino.
Available now. You can catch his upcoming show, The Shape of Pasta. I'm gonna get a season to this. If I can find Quibi. A little plug for my podcast, the Dennis Miller Quibi. No, option is on Westwood One and iTunes. Thank you, Larry, for the seat. Glad you're on the mend. See you soon, and we'll see you all next time.